Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Monday, January 6th, 2020, and we again find ourselves in the final hour of the trading day. I mention this each day, but in my opinion, the most valid prices to make your buying and selling decisions from are the prices that are as close to the close as possible. During the day, you have the algorithms, you have the day traders battling it around. I consider it a lot of noise. I feel like the more valid prices come in at the end of the day when the large financial institutions and the market makers come in with size and move the price at the end of the day. And like I said, that is what I consider the most valid prices. So that's why I make the majority of my buying and selling decisions just at the end of the day, and it frees up your day. You don't have to sit in front of the computer all day and look at all the kind of intraday moves that really may mean nothing. At the end of the day, the large financial institutions move that price, and I'd rather base my decisions on what they're doing instead of just the noise during the day. So anyway, thank you so much for coming, everybody. I appreciate it. I hope everyone had a nice weekend. And this seems like the first real trading week of the year. We've had all these partial weeks and so forth and so on. So anyway, Evan, good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for coming by. I really do appreciate it. I hope you had a nice weekend. Gamer Squad, hey, good to see you, David. That is David from Denver and Columbia. So I don't know if Dave's back from his vacation, but if you are, I hope you had a good time. Hey, Grant, how you doing, sir? Thank you so much, and appreciate your comments on the videos. And by the way, Grant, you asked me how I come up with my watch list, and my watch list is made up of large companies that are followed by large financial institutions. They're the leader in their categories and their business categories, but I like to have monster stocks, and when I say monster stocks, I mean large stocks that people follow. And then I like to have a diversification of those stocks, different type of industries. Not all tech, right? Maybe some tech, maybe some healthcare, maybe some tobacco, the major indices, and then outside of that, some things like silver, gold, bonds, oil. So I want to trade the best possible stocks, and I want to have a stock list that has different business sectors in it. I don't want it to be a watch list just full of tech, right? I just want there to be some diversification, but large companies that are followed. So that's how I come up with my particular stock watch list. And sometimes I'll remove something and then I'll replace it with something else. But hope that helps. Clarence Beeks, hey buddy, what is going on? Good to see you, my friend. Looking forward to our call tonight. Dr. Long, hey, how you doing, Doc? Good to see you. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. So, all right, well, we've had kind of another crazy day. The futures were down big time last night, big time because of this Iranian, these geopolitical Iranian issues that we're having. We have reversed since then very strongly, but be interesting to see where the market closes. So the Dow's down about 7 points right now. NASDAQ's down up 29 points. So we have kind of a mixed market, and the S&P is up slightly at 4.83. So, all right. Well, listen, everybody, I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you spending your time here, investing your time with me. You could be doing a lot of other things each day than watching this live stream. And so I really hope that, what I'm teaching here and when I show how I trade, I hope this is helping you and that you're getting some kind of, return on investment on your time. So, all right, well, here is the plan for today. We're going to go ahead and run the U.S. legal disclaimer. After that, we're going to come back. We're going to take a look at my current positions. We're going to talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them moving forward. Then we also have some trades, not that I have, but some of the viewers have, that I have listed here and we're going to take a look at those, and I'll break those charts down as well. After that, we are going to do a few minutes on trader psychology. In my opinion, being able to manage your emotions, follow your plan is the most important skill you can learn in trading. Yes, it's important to learn technicals and support, resistance, indicators, entries, exit. That's all very important, no doubt about it. But once you learn all that, then you put together a trading plan. But a lot of people have a problem sticking with their trading plan. So I like to talk about this each day, and there's some really good channels out there that provide some good information, good sayings, and so we're going to go over that. And hopefully by me hitting you over the head every single day about trader psychology and following your plan, hopefully you'll start to internalize it and do more of it. After that, we're going to go down through my watch list, each stock one by one. We're going to take a look at support, resistance levels, indicators such as MACD, RSI, moving averages, ATR channels. And the way that I view trading is I look at each indicator as a potential group of buyers. And if you want to buy a stock and put yourself in a position where you have the the best chance of that stock going up, you need to be in the company as many groups of buyers as possible. So that's why I like to look for a combination or a confluence of indicators lining up, or another way to say that, I like to look for a confluence or a combination of different groups of buyers coming together at the same price. That's where, in my opinion, you have the best chance of having a profitable trade. So we're going to go through the watch list. We're going to look for a combination or confluence of indicators. That's requirement number one. Requirement number two, so we need to make sure that even if we do have a confluence of indicators, that we have a good risk to reward ratio based upon our support underneath us and based upon some kind of valid resistance point above us, like moving averages above us, RSI above us, something like that. So I like to look for at least a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Make 200 if I'm right, lose 100 if I'm wrong. So that's step two. And step three is make sure that you take a look and you're conscious of your positions, that you do not have too many correlated positions in the same industry. You don't want 4 tech stocks. If they all go up together, then great. But if they all go down, then it's going to beat you up pretty good. So 3 steps. 1, look for a confluence or combination of indicators lining up together. Step 2, make sure you have a good risk to reward ratio, at least 2-to-1. Step 3, make sure your positions are not too highly correlated. So that's what I'm going to look for. And at the end of the day, if I can find a stock that passes the litmus test of all 3 of those requirements, I'll go ahead and buy it at the end of the day. After that, when the market closes, if you have any questions whatsoever, please let me know. If you need clarification on anything I discussed today, please let me know. If you'd like me to take a look at any particular stock symbols after the market closes, be happy to break down the chart, give you my humble opinion. And if you find something today that you think would be helpful for the group that you'd like my opinion on before the market closes, please put a star by it, something like that, in the chat so that I know it's time sensitive. So, all right, well, that's the plan for today. Not too bad, right? So, all right, hang tight. I'm going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer, and I will be back in about 40 seconds.
This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, thanks for holding through me with that. So, Marco, hey buddy, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good evening in Slovenia in Europe, and thanks for coming by. Dr. Long says, sold all my gold to the buy stops this morning, 148.49. I bought 140 calls for 26 cents. A monster trade as the day in Boston, as they say in Boston. 148. to the buy stops. Oh, you bought 140 calls. Wow, very nice, my friend. Yeah, the price action of this bar today on gold seems a bit toppy, right? We have the close way under the open, even though currently the close is above yesterday's close. So big gap reversal. And so it looks like you sold right there at the open. So very nice stock. Very nice. Tried to buy puts and bonds in CL today, but whiffed. I see. Hey, man, Solo, good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for coming. Hope you had a nice weekend. It was great having our call last week, and let me know when we are on for our next one. Hey, Alan, good to see you. Thank you for coming, sir. Appreciate it. Hey, Steve Burns, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Always great to have you here. Always an honor, always a privilege. I'm always excited to see you, and I know everyone else is to have Steve in the chat. So it's a great thing to have. So thanks for coming, bud. Steve says, very resilient stock market with all the headline risk. Yeah, I know. I mean, it goes down and it comes back up, goes down and it comes back up. So yeah, we shall see what happens here. So, all right. Steve says VIX rejected again back under the 200-day moving average. So let's take a look at the VIX. Let's take a look at the VIX index. Yeah. See, these last 2 days, on Friday we were up big, rejected the 200. Today we're up big, rejected the 200. So that would seem to be stock market positive, right? All right. Well, let's get started and go through our current positions. We only have 2 of them. Currently, oops. Here we go. All right. So I did buy Etsy on Friday when we had the 1050 SMA crossover. This is a good back-tested approach to trading Etsy. Doesn't mean every single crossover is going to be a positive trade, obviously, but what crossovers do for you is they give you a plan for your trade. When they cross over, you buy. When they cross under, you get out. If you're wrong, you're most likely wrong fairly small. If you're right, you have the potential for a big win. And that's the key to trading in general, right? Put yourself in a position where if you're wrong small. If you're right, you're able to stay with the trade and have an outside gain. So that's what I really like about crossovers. They're just constructed that way. Keep your losses small if you're right. If you're wrong, have the possibility for a big move up if you are right. So I did buy it back here on Friday on the 3rd. I bought it at 44.94. We are slightly under that today. It was up higher earlier, then it reversed, although it is off of its lows. As long as it keeps moving up, I will continue to phase out. I did not hit any profit targets today, but I will continue to phase out to the upside until we get to the 70 RSI. If it rejects the 70 RSI, I would go ahead and just lock in profits. If it closes above the 70, I would hold it and trail from there. To the downside, my stop will be a close below both the 10 and the 50. This is what was that? Oh, all right. I understand what that was. Wasn't mine. Okay. So my stop will be a close below the 10 and the 50. So we are below the 10, but these are the 2 moving averages that I use for the crossover, the 10 and the 50. So the way that I am proceeding with my stop is if I get a close below both of them, that would be bearish, and then I would just get out for a small loss. So anyway, slightly down on this. Glad that it did recover off of its low. All right. Number 2, SPY. So world famous SPY trade. I've been using this for close to a year. It has been very nice, profitable approach. This particular approach, I buy the SPY every day at the close. I sell it first thing the very next morning, and I do this every day. And why would I do this? It has nothing to do with technical support resistance. This has to do with a long-term backtest study from Lizanne Saunders at Bespoke Invest on Twitter. But with this backtest, they tested 2 different approaches. Approach number 1 was buying the SPY every day at the open, selling it at the close every day. So buy the open, sell the close, buy the open, sell the close. If you would have used this approach every day since 1993, you'd have returned a negative 13.9%. However, if you did the opposite, which is what I do, and buy the SPY at the close, and then sell the next morning every day. So buy the close, sell the next morning, buy the close, sell the next morning. If you'd have used this approach every day since 1993, you would have returned a positive 634.2% return. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. That is true, and that goes for any trading approach. You put yourself in a position here with this particular trade with a really good set of back-tested data. And, in my opinion, the reason this works is at the end of the day, all the day traders go ahead, sell their positions because they don't want to take the overnight risk. If then the overnight comes, goes, nothing went wrong, then they buy it back the next morning. So you buy at the end of the day when generally you have some selling pressure, and you sell the next morning when you have buying pressure. And in my opinion, that is why this has worked out so well. So the blue line is the buy in the afternoon, sell the morning. Orange line is the buy in the morning, sell in the afternoon. You can see this is the clear winner. There are ups and downs with this approach. It's never straight up, but this chart shows you that if you do have an edge, and you can stay in the trade, or continue to make this trade over the long term, how it can play out for you. But there are ups and downs. I've been using it since February 26. 2019 was an awesome year for using this approach. 2020 so far has not been so great, but of course we're early in the year. So had two big down days in a row. I did buy this on Friday at 322.41 and had to sell it first thing this morning, almost near the low at 320.44. Thursday, bought up here, sold down here. So got whooped up on 2 days in a row. Now the previous trade of the year was buy here, sell the open there. So that was profitable, but I didn't take that trade because I was completely flat at the end of the year. So I missed out on this one, but I did get this one to the downside, and I did get this one to the downside. But that's how it goes. And, any particular string of wins or gains really doesn't mean anything. We just have to play this for the long term, position size conservatively, buy this thing at the close and sell it first thing the next morning. So I will be buying this again at the close, and I will sell it first thing tomorrow morning. So those are the only positions that I have. So just real quick recap: Etsy, only down 18 cents now, so that's good. Bought the 10.50 crossover. I'll continue to scale to the upside. I will get out if we close below both the 10 and the 50, and these are the two that I initiated the trade when we had the close. So if we close below both of them, I will go ahead and get out, and then the SPY, buying this again at the end of the day. So let's take a look real quick at everyone else's trades. So Mount Doji did buy ARCE back here on the 3rd. Can't remember exactly why he bought this. It wasn't really a valid V1 or a V2. It did move up above the 5, the 10, did get rejected by the 100, but he is up on it nonetheless. He bought it at 45.48. It's at 45.69. So good job, Mount Doji. All right. Man Solo bought CMCSA back here on the 19th of December. This has been a really nice trade. Had a nice V1. Here's day 1. Here's day 2. Day 2 washes out day 1, closes above day 1. Day 2 closes above day 1's close, and we bounced off the 200. So that was nice. And he's had a nice trade up here. He's been waiting for a close below the previous day's low to get stopped out. Just hasn't come yet. So did lose the 10 today. One of the things is if you're only waiting for a close below the previous day's low, you can get these lows and then you can gap up, lows and gap up, and you think follow it all the way down. But it is a little concerning to me that it has lost the 10-day. That might also be, instead of a close below the previous day's low, although we might get it today, a close below the 10-day might be a way to exit that trade as well. Man Solo did buy FedEx back here on the 31st. We had this higher low V1. This looked like a nice trade. Moved up nicely the very next day. came back, is well off of its lows today. It's still a profitable trade for him. Don't think it's moved one ATR from the entry. So good price action here today, though. Rejected the one ATR, negative one ATR channel and reversed back up. So anyway, so far so good as far as a profitable trade. Alan bought Boeing back here on the 2nd of January with the close above the 10-day moving average. It was a V2. Here's day 1, day 2, day 3, day 2. Washed out day 1, day 3, closed above day 1. But me personally, I would not have bought this because when you have a gap larger than a quarter ATR that makes your V2, I usually just let the trade go. But it looks like he is pretty much exactly even on this trade so far. So keep us posted on what you're doing with BA, Alan. And then KMX. Alan also bought KMX back here on the 2nd of January, right under here, the 3rd ATR channel, but it has been rejected 2 days, or it did reject the next day. Today it was lower, was higher earlier. We are under 30, over 30, which is, it was under 30 today again. It is a false breakout to the downside. Here's the previous lows. We went down below, back up. I am waiting personally on CarMax for a nice, solid, strong rejection of the 200-day moving average. A lot of times when you have the 200-day moving average right there, in my opinion, it acts a bit like a magnet. Like me personally, I'm not going to buy this until it hits the 200 or rejects the 200. Well, that's so I'm not buying, right? There's no buying pressure, and there's probably thousands of other people out there as well that are thinking the same thing. So hope this goes up for you, Alan. For me, if we reject the 200, a nice rejection of the 200, that is where I would get out, where I would get in. See here. Dr. Long says, I bought all my IBB back Friday. Yeah, you had that nice, I think you bought some puts on IBB, right, Doc? And boy, you were right. I'm not sure when that expiration was, but yeah, I mean, look, this is a nice V1 to the upside today. Here's day 1, here's day 2. Day 2 washes out day 1. Currently, right now, we are above Friday's close, so may have rejected the 50 RSI, so that might be something to consider, but I'm glad you made money on the downside. Aman Solo says, stock rising on bad news is a sign of strength, not weakness, in my opinion. Important to keep stops very close, though. Hope Frank has a poem for it. That's right. Frank has the best poems. You are right about stocks rising on bad news. Grant, do you do the SPY trades on Friday too? Yes, I do. Every single day. Buy the SPY at the close, sell the next morning. Aman Solo says, like PRU and ABT, both have nice signals and also good support on a weekly chart. All right, let's take a look. Yes. I mean, here we have a V1, we have a false breakout to the downside, we have a rejection of the 200. But you know what I'm going to say, I'm on Solo. Right now we're at 49.94. We definitely have already rejected the 50 RSI today. So me personally, because of that fact, I wouldn't take it. If it closed over 50, that would be different. And we are coming from a low situation here. ABT. Well, we are above the value zone. We held steady for 1 day. Went down, but held. Let's look at the weekly on here. Weekly's not bad. It's in the value zone. Personally, I don't see enough sideways movement on this one. Hassan says, hey everyone. Hey, good to see you, Hassan. Thanks for coming. Steve says, I'm still long KMX and Etsy here. That's right. So Steve has KMX. I think he's looking for a close under the 30 to get out, if I believe if I'm correct, Steve, and then Etsy, which we have Etsy as well. A man solo says, we'll lose CMCFA if closes below 100 day. Good. Glad. Nothing magical about the 100 day, nothing magical about the 10. But what is magical is that a man solo has a plan. Doesn't have to be the best plan in the world. It just has to be a plan, right? Has to be a plan to tell you, do this. If it does this, I'm going to do this. If it does that, I'm going to do this. Alan says, still in BA and KMX. Yep, went over those. Mansolo says, I tightened the stop on FedEx based on yesterday's V1. We'll exit if it stops out or keeps moving sideways this week. Time stop. Okay, good. Alan says, we'll exit KMX if closes under 30. That sounds good. Clarence Beeks, a.k.a. Jesse, says, double bottom with bull divergence on Costco. Oh, I haven't looked at Costco for a long time. Yes, you are right, Jesse. Here's a low with MACD bars. We rally into the value zone. We come back down. We make a lower low and look at the divergence on the MACD. So it means this move down here started to lose some momentum to the downside. Let's look at the weekly. I like the weekly. I like the monthly. Monthly's an uptrend, which is good. The intermediate term time frame, which is the weekly, smack dab here in the value zone. Perfect. And so okay, let me see what Jesse said. Consolidating on a weekly with V1, a little high on the monthly. No entry signal currently. Yeah, it is a divergence, but there's not a lot of, there is a double bottom with the bullish divergence, but there's not really a clear cut. There's really not a clear cut entry. Your entry could be if we had a V1 today, or your entry could be a false breakout from this previous low. Honestly, I don't think it's enough, but let's watch Costco and let me know if you do anything with it. Dr. Long says, I exercised 121 puts. Oh, okay, good. Alan says, staying in BA if it stays above halfway of the washout bar. That sounds like a plan. That looks good to me. All right, well, listen, this is the time of the day where I do like to talk about trader psychology. There's some really good Twitter channels out there, some really good Facebook channels out there with professional traders and people that post really good trading words of wisdom. And one of the best ones out there, of course, is our friend Stephen Burns, who's in the chat today. And Steve, this is such a great post. I saw this and I immediately went, oh man, I have to talk about that. But if you guys haven't followed Steve, it's Steve Burns at S Joseph Burns on Twitter, and do yourself a favor, read everything he posts. It's definitely a good investment of your time. But Steve says, a bad trade often sends a trader down a path of negative, self-defeating thinking and behavior. Many enter a spiral they can never escape from. Remembering your good trades and staying positive is hard, but beneficial for success. And he quotes at PR Robbins, PRROBBINS. But this is short and sweet, but it is so true, everybody. I hit you over the head every day with why it's important to not become destabilized psychologically. And the way we want to do that is with a conservative position size. But, you might wonder, why does Greg always harp on this? And I harp on this because exactly what Steve says. A bad trade often sends a trader down a path of negative, self-defeating thinking and behavior. Many enter a spiral they can never escape from. And if you get to this point, if the your emotions get amplified to the point to where you start becoming very negative on yourself and have self-defeating thinking and behavior, you're done trading and you're probably not going to want to get out of that loss, right? So nip that in the bud by not putting yourself in a position where you can have a huge loss, because the huge loss is one thing, but probably the more important thing is what it does to you psychologically, as far as having self-defeating thinking and behavior and getting into this spiral. So that's why I talk about it. That's why everything I do is based upon me not getting in this position. So that's why I think this is such a good trade. And remember, keep yourself out from that danger area. If any of you play poker, you may know a poker player that's like the best, tightest poker player. He's really good. But then one night he just gets beat on a bad beat in his hand and he goes on tilt, right? That's just another word for going on tilt. And then he plays crappy the whole rest of the night. And everyone's like, wow, why is Kevin playing so badly? Because he got destabilized. So, you're going to have losses. It's a normal part of trading. Just make sure those losses aren't too big with the proper position sizing. And why do all this? Because you don't want yourself to become destabilized and get into this negative self-defeating thinking and behavior. So thank you so much, Steve. Yeah, I mean, this really sums up my whole philosophy of trading psychology. Just doing everything you can to avoid getting in this bad spot. Kyle Finnerty, hey, how you doing, Kyle? Do you see anything on TLT? Well, let's take a look-see. No, I don't right now. I mean, we did have a nice rally, although we did close above the 1 ATR channel. We have a negative V1 to the downside, which is bearish. I want to see us come back into the value zone, move sideways for a couple days, then have a V1 or a V2. Steve says, thanks for sharing my tweet from Peter Robbins. Oh, thanks, Steve. That was great. And yes, thank you to Peter Robbins for that as well. But that, one of my favorite trading quotes ever. Jesse says, is that quote great? Even when knowing to prepare mentally, the psychological attacks still come and have to combat them with positive thinking and staying the course. Yes, that's right. And that's why I always, if you've noticed, whenever I have a losing trade, I try to find something positive about it, right? I'm not being Pollyannish about it. It's part of my process. Look at things glass half full, not glass half empty, because you want to keep positive. You want to stay in that positive state of mind. So, if you have a losing trade and it's 10 cents off the low, okay, at least you didn't get the low, right? Just try to stay positive about it. Hey, Bing He, good to see you, my friend. Bing He's our friend from Singapore. Appreciate you coming. Grant says, love your videos, Greg. If you only had 2 positions currently, what do you do with the bulk of your capital at times like these? Just sits in cash, Grant. Just sits in a money market. I mean, there's 3 possible positions, valid positions: long, short, and cash. And sitting in cash is a valid position. You don't want to put your capital at risk in something that doesn't seem to have an edge, right? And if there's not a good setup, there's not a good edge, then you're just gambling with that money. You're not putting it into a situation where you have a positive expectancy. And in sitting in cash with a money market fund that yields probably 1.5 or 1 3/4, at least that's your positive expectancy. Bing He says, Greg, can you help look at ATSG? ATSG. Yeah, that's pretty strong. Yeah, I like that. We never closed above the 1 ATR channel, so we started below the negative 1 ATR channel, came back in. This is now a higher low V1 above all the moving averages. Nice V1. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly is, it's not way extended. It's just at the 1 ATR channel. Yeah, I like that. Dr. Long says, I'm willing to buy puts in TLT but need a higher price. Gotcha. Guys, hold on 1 second. I have to move Katie around. I apologize. I'll be back in about 30 seconds. Okay, sorry about that. When Katie hears me start speaking, she thinks that's the time it's to go out. That's her cue. All right, well, let's get to it. See what's happening. See if we have anything for today. Apple. Wow, sure is strong. I mean, look at this gap down in this reversal. It's a V1 reversal to the upside, which is positive, but not at these levels. Looks like 80 RSI was kind of the limit for it. Now it's bumping up against the 80 RSI. For me, I just need to be patient on Apple, wait for some kind of pullback into the value zone, wait for some kind of dip back to the mean, then look for a sideways movement and a V1, V2 to the upside. Adobe, up today. You can see though, we've essentially been going up and down for the last 5 or 6 days. So this is essentially here a range. It's at 72.95. It's strong, it's just not giving me a good risk to reward. So similar to Apple, I need to pull back into value. I need to wait for a dip to be able to buy Adobe. And remember now, 90% of prices tend to fail at the third ATR channel. They tend to hold support at the negative third ATR channel. So when prices start getting up here, I'm not looking to buy. If I owned them, I would be looking to sell because statistically 90% of prices fail here. I'm more looking to buy down here where 90% of prices tend to have support. So this doesn't offer a good risk to reward ratio at this time for me. Amazon has been all over the place. It's been up and down and up and down and up. Nothing here today. It is range bound. I'm looking for a pullback. Maybe a pullback to the 200 would be excellent. I did buy Amazon back here on the 17th when we had a nice close above the 250 day. It wasn't too extended into the channel. It held support for about 4 or 5 days, and then it took off nicely for us. Boom and boom. So I phased out all the way to there. I got out, and a little higher than where I got out, but you know, I didn't have to go through all this volatility. So this is what's good about buying over major moving averages like the 200 or the 250. If you're wrong quickly, and you're wrong small, and if you're right, you have the potential for a nice big upward move. And again, comes down to what is the formula for profitable trading: big wins, small wins, break-even trades, small losses. And you know, keying off of major moving averages. If you're wrong, small loss. If you're right, you have the potential for a big win like we did on here. But nothing on Amazon today. Boeing. Well, we do have a V1. We do have a higher, no, not quite. We may, at the end of the day, have a higher low V1. But when I have V1s, I like them to come under the 1 ATR channel into the value zone, then have a couple days down before I get the V1 or the V2. And this has just basically moved sideways. Yes, we do have a V1, or we might have a V1. MACD is positive. Wouldn't be the worst trade in the world, but I think I am going to pass because I did not get 2 days down. But I hope that goes up for Alan. Berkshire Hathaway, I've been waiting for Berkshire Hathaway to come back into the value zone. It was extended above the 1 ATR channel, extended above the third. Been waiting. Finally is back into the value zone, and it did trigger a V1. Here's day 1, here's day 2. Day 2 washed out day 1. Looks like it's going to close above. But a couple issues here. There was no sideways movement. It was just down, reverse. And even if I did take this today, do you see how high it is in the channel between this screen and this screen? This is a negative one, this is a positive one. I don't like to buy higher than 3/4 worth of the channel. So my maximum would be there. So two issues in my opinion: no sideways movement, and the entry, even though it is a V1, is just too high in the channel. Well, beyond meat, nothing really here at the moment. If we had a V2 tomorrow, here's day 1, day 2, day 3, closed above day 1's close, we would have a higher low V2. I might consider it there, but at this point, no, I'm not going to consider it. Another potential would be a close under the 30 or a rejection of the 30 and then close back above going forward. Caterpillar, nothing here today. We did, a few days ago, we did break out to a new high. Today we are back in the range, so this means a false breakout to the downside. But what would I be looking for in Amazon? Well, we're above the Win ATR channel. Want to see it come back into the value zone. We are in the value zone now, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I need it to come into the value zone and stop going down, start moving sideways, and then have a V1 or a V2 as my entry for this dip. Dow Jones, a few days ago we had that breakout, and now we're back in the range, so this technically was a false breakout. Nothing here. In order for me to get interested, I needed to come into the value zone, go sideways, V1, V2. Walt Disney had the big move up, then down, did hold near the halfway, but today it lost it. So nothing on Walt Disney. I might be interested in Walt Disney if we could get back to the confluence down here of the upward sloping 50-day. That might be interesting. How's our Etsy doing? Etsy's down 21 cents. We are slightly underwater. Of course, I took it with the 1050 SMA cross. If we in the coming days, if we close below both the 10 and the 50, I will get out, hopefully for small loss. If it continues to move up my way, I'll just go ahead and scale on the way up. Facebook, strong day today, 67 RSI too high. Gold, off of its low, just too high here. I mean, I need to pull back into value. It might be a while for gold. But we did have a great trade on gold. We had a 520 EMA crossover. Moved sideways, didn't do much for a few days, and then just exploded. This is a good example of sideways tight movements do lead to big moves. We just don't know which direction or when it's going to happen, but fortunately it moved for us nicely. If when we had the 520 EMA crossover, if it would have closed below both, I would have just gotten out for a small loss. But as I mentioned before, the crossovers allow you for small losses, but they allow you for potential big gain if you're right, like this one did. I actually ran out of shares right about here, so I got out. So I missed these last 3 days up, but I'm still very happy with the trade. Google, look at this, everybody. Unbelievable. I don't know where this came from. So this is a breakout to a new high here. Here's a flat top breakout. See the flat top? And then we broke out. This is very strong. It looks like it probably rejected the 70 RSI today. So just one of those things, you know, you see a nice move, but you have to, you know, put it in the context of, does it offer good risk reward? And this one does not. Need to pull back into value. Goldman Sachs, we did break out, came back in the range today. We broke back up again, which is positive, but I need to pull back into value. Sideways movement. Home Depot, nothing there. We made a lower high. I need to wash this out. IBB, nice V1 to the upside. I would prefer this to be in the value zone and some sideways movement with this one. So I'm not going to take this one, but I hope that goes up for Dr. Long. Intel, very strong. Just need to pull back into value. Sideways movement. Russell. All right, so look, Russell's getting interesting. We were above the 1 ATR channel. Don't want to buy it up here. Want to wait for it to come back into value. Here it came back into value. I consider this this is technically a V1, but I wouldn't take it this high. So if we could get a couple more days sideways movement, that's when I would look. Better to buy here in the value zone than up here, because it does, the stock market is mean reverting, meaning it reverts back into the value zone, just like it did. So it is there, has moved sideways for, I guess, a couple days, but I still need a valid V1 or V2 trigger to get in. Johnson & Johnson, very much the same. Don't want to buy up here, just too high. Wait for it to come back into the value zone. It is smack down in the value zone. This is looking really good. Does it mean I buy? No. But we were above the value zone, came into the value zone. Here's 1 day sideways. If I could get another day sideways and then a V1 or a V2, that would offer me a good risk to reward. Again, stocks are the only thing that people do not like to buy on sale. They like to buy them up here. They don't want to buy them at value or under value. That's what Dr. Alexander Elder told me. So I don't buy these kind of moves. I wait for the pullbacks. CarMax. All right, still hanging above the 30 RSI. That's good. Coca-Cola back in the value zone. That's what I was waiting for. Now we have a day sideways. Just need some more consolidation sideways and then a V1, V2. Lockheed Martin, of course, the last couple days been very strong because of the geopolitical tensions with Iran. Did gap up, close lower, so cannot get involved in Lockheed. MasterCard waiting for it to come back into value. Did poke its head down there today, but now it's back over, so nothing there. Look at McDonald's, had issues here at the 200-day moving average, but today, like a champion, right through, closed above the 200. Could you buy this? I guess I wouldn't buy it though, because it's too high. It's up at the third ATR channel. 90% of prices fail here and tag the 100-day moving average. So just need to be patient, wait for a pullback. Merck, same. Need for a pullback into the value zone. Microsoft, even on the day, again, just need to pull back into the value zone. The value zone's between this one and this -1 ATR channel. So from here to here, anywhere in this area is the value zone. Wow, Netflix. Boy, that's a strong V1. Rejection or close rejection of the 200. Looks really good, looks really tempting, but it's just too high. It's almost near the third ATR channel. Doesn't offer a good risk to reward. Nike, just waiting for Nike to pull back into the value zone. Philip Morris, well. So I've been looking at Philip Morris. We were above the 1 ATR channel. We came back into the value zone. We had a couple days sideways movement. Everything looks good. We have a V1, but unfortunately, now the V1's triggering at too high of a level. See, here's day one. Day two washes out day one. Closing above day one's close. Everything's there above the 1 ATR channel. Back into the value zone. Sideways movement. V1. But my filter does not let me take this higher than 3/4 above in the value zone. And now we are above the value zone. This looks very bullish. It does, but I can't buy it here because my filter's telling me it's too high to buy. PayPal, nice strong V1 rejection of the 200-day moving average, but again, too high for me. It's above the 1 ATR channel, and we're right here in all this, this range, this consolidation. Doesn't mean it can't go higher, but in the past, this is where it stalled out, so I'm going to have to let that one go as well. The Qs, can't do anything with the Qs, waiting for a pullback into value zone. Silver gapped up high, reversed here. I'd be waiting for a pullback into the value zone or the 5 EMA to cross under the 20 EMA and then back over. I did take that exact trade with the 5 crossing over the 20 back here on the 19th. If I was wrong, most likely I'd be wrong small. If I was right, I might have a nice upside move, which is exactly what happened. This was a great trade. I phased out, ran out of shares right here. S&P 500. Gap down, beat me up on the overnight SPY trade 2 days in a row. I will be buying this again at the end of the day. TLT, we talked about that. We have a V1 to the downside. We are above the 1 ATR channel, so we'll move back into the value zone. Sideways movement is what I would be looking for, and then a V1, V2. Tesla continues to go up. Man, if you're a Tesla short, this is just incredibly brutal. But anyway, I'm not looking to short this here. I'd be looking to buy a pullback into the value zone. Twitter. Well, this is interesting. We close above the 1 ATR channel. Now we're waiting for a pullback into the value. Friday, we had a pullback. We're smack in the value zone. Today, we are moving sideways, so we're starting to consolidate. If I could get one more day sideways, then a V1 or a V2, that's when I would buy Twitter, but nothing yet today. UNH, we did come into the value zone, but, well, we are moving sideways here now, so a couple more days sideways, ideally down here by the -1 ATR channel, have a V1 or a V2 with the rejection of the -1 ATR channel is what I'd be looking for. USO, oil, gapped up, down, it's closed below the 3rd ATR channel on oil. I need to pull back into the value zone. VIX, down. Man, VIX has been crazy lately. Up, up, down, up, down. So nothing here. I've been on VIX. I'd be looking for a double bottom with the bullish divergence or an under 30, over 30. Verizon was above the 1 ATR channel, came into the value zone, started to move sideways, but could not hold and lost the -1 ATR channel. So at this point, on Verizon, I would be looking to the downside, maybe down here, confluence of the 100-day and the -3rd ATR channel and a low RSI, or a pullback, a move back into the value zone with a couple days down, and then look for a higher low V1 or V2. Walmart, you know what? This is a tough one. This is a tough one because, you know, when you're looking at moving averages, Steve Burns always taught me, go back in the past and look and see which moving average really held support. Well, if we look at Walmart, look back here, the 100-day really did hold, right? I mean, it held up like a champion. Never touched it, never touched it, never touched it. Now we are back to the 100-day moving average. Last time it held. Does it mean it's going to hold this time? No, not necessarily, but, you know, it is a bit of a clue. Earlier today, it had a V1. In that case, I was thinking about buying it. Would I want to buy it here? Well, I mean, it did reject the 100-day substantially. Looks like it's going to close above the 100-day moving average. Does that mean I want to buy it? You know, based upon that it did hold the 100 last time, you know, it's somewhat tempting because it really did hold the 100. So it does offer a good risk to reward. I will give it that. I would like it a whole lot better if it would have triggered and locked in that V1 to the upside. On the other hand, you have this big bar here. The 100-day moving average is right there in the middle of it. Look at that. Oh, one sec. There you go. XLE, nothing there. Financials, back in the value zone. Need some sideways movement. Real estate, just kind of a hot mess. Utilities, now that's interesting. We're above the 1 ATR channel. We made a lower high. We washed out the previous low. We have definitely moved sideways for a couple days. V1, V2 trigger is what I would be looking for, and healthcare. Okay, nothing on healthcare. Nothing on healthcare. So the only thing that looks interesting to me whatsoever today is possibly Walmart. Now let's see if you guys took Dr. Long says, I typically look for a trade that keeps moving up. I wait until I see a place where people got stopped out. I would have sold gold today because of stops, but it is holding, so I just sold out my longs. Okay, Dr. Long says gold did not reject stops above 147 and it's holding. Bing He says took ATSG. Good. 23.59. right, we have 5 minutes. There's Bing He, ATSG. Okay. Dr. Long says, I am not long IBB. I covered shorts flat. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so you covered. All right, Man Solo says ETFC. ETFC. Yeah, it's fairly decent. That's fairly decent, Frank. I'm on Solo. And we made a lower high. We did wash out the low. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly's kind of a tight range up there. Actually, Man Solo, remember, this bar, yesterday's bar, is this big. See, here was the close. We gapped down, but essentially this bar is this long, and it was a V1 over too large of a bar. If you remember, this bar doesn't look so big, but remember the previous day it closed here and gapped down, making this bar this big. So I personally would not take that trade because day one's bar, even though it looks like a small bar, is a large bar. Oh, Frank wrote a poem? Okay, so Frank says, be wary of events. Breaking news and fear are things that can cost you dear. Put stops on every trade and know that when markets rain lemonades, when markets rain lemons, you can always make lemonades. That's good, Frank. Be wary of events. Breaking news and fear are things that can cost you dear. Put stops on every trade and know that when markets rain lemonades, you can make when markets rain lemons, you can always make lemonade. Oh, that was good, and I said it horrible. Sorry, Frank, but that's awesome. And I'm going to tweet that as well. Jesse said, big first bar on ETFC. Yep, exactly. Day one looks small, but it's too big. All right, so, well, Etsy's hanging in there. It's only down 6 cents now, so that's fantastic. So that one looks fine. The only thing that I saw today that looked at least interesting was Walmart. Let's look at the monthly on Walmart. Monthly, uptrend. Weekly, right in the value zone. That's pretty good, right? So long-term trend up, intermediate term trend right in the value zone, right where we want it. And on the daily, we have that nice thorough rejection of the 100. Just by itself probably wouldn't be enough, but the last time we were at the 100, it really did hold nicely there at the 100. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take a trade in this. It's holding the halfway of this bar, thoroughly rejected the 100. It does offer me a good risk to reward. So yeah, and especially because of the triple screen. Monthly, oh, we have 1 minute. I better do this real quick then. All right. Okay. All right, we have about 10 seconds. So Etsy only closed down 6 cents, so that's fantastic. That's great. SPY. Got filled on SPY at 323.64. 323.64. Oh, that was an ugly overnight trade. 323.64. That is the new SPY trade for tomorrow. I'll sell that first thing tomorrow. And then Walmart, I got filled at 117.58. Oh, good. 117.58. So my stop on this is going to be a close below the 100-day moving average. So it does give me a very good risk to reward. I wish it would have had a V1, but you know, the main reasons that I bought this was, one, looking back in the past, the 100-day definitely did hold major support last time at the 100, and we're right there again, and it did reject the 100 today. And on the monthly, we're in an uptrend. On the weekly, the intermediate term time frame, we're right here in the middle of the value zone and did bounce off the 20-week moving average. And then we had this. So all in all, looks good. Do I know it's going to go up? No, I do not. Do I think it's going to go down? Who knows, right? But if it closes below the 100-day tomorrow, I will just go ahead and get out. So those are our three positions. Etsy with the 1050 crossover, slightly underwater, about 6 cents. SPY did get clobbered on the overnight SPY train. Did buy it again today at the close at 323.64, and Walmart did buy with the rejection of the 100-day. So that is it. So 3 positions, nothing too crazy. All right. All right, I'm going to get to the rest of the questions and comments. Before I do, just quickly want to put in my quick little daily plug, let everybody know that I do offer private one-on-one coaching, teaching, and mentoring lessons in the evening time via Skype. I really like to teach. I've had really good results with my clients. I do have a course. It's 5 sessions. Each session is between 2 and 3 hours. It's one-on-one on Skype, and you know, it's a pretty intense lesson. Series of lessons. I do a teaching at the beginning of each session, and then I have you teach it back to me at the end. So I really turn the tables a lot, ask you a lot of questions, break down this chart for me. What's positive? What's negative? What's the risk to reward? Does it make sense? What's our next potential trade? And we do a lot of chart study. So you know, I teach you everything I've learned over the last 24 years as a full-time trader. I teach you everything I've learned from all my coaches and mentors, and everything they've taught me, and everything that I have developed myself. So, you know, if you've been thinking about it, you can reach out to me. My email's in the description of this video, or you can reach out to me on Twitter. But you know, before I take on a new student, I do like to have an initial Skype call, kind of an interview process both ways. I want to interview you a little bit, know about your trading, what your challenges have been, what your goals are. And that way, if you do decide to, you know, work with me and become a student, then I can put together kind of a specialized or bespoke lesson plan for you. And then of course you have the opportunity to ask me any questions as well. And if it's a good fit, then we can move forward and schedule the sessions. But there's no pressure on the Skype call. I promise you, it's nice to be able to talk to you anyway. But if you're interested, please let me know. It is $1,000, but I think you get a lot of value for the money, and you actually get a lot of hours, right? 5 sessions, each session somewhere between 2 and 3 hours. So if you're interested, reach out to me by email, or you can send me
me a message on Twitter, and we can schedule that initial free Skype call. So, and then if you like today's podcast, if you find it valuable, if you're learning something, if it's helping you, I would appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button. I really would appreciate that. It does help with YouTube getting the channel out there, and there are a lot of people out there that need help with trading. And I think if they came to this channel every day, or even for a week or two in a row, I think they would come away with it and have a better understanding of trading and be a better trader. So, all right, so that's my plug. Appreciate you hanging on with me through that. Mansola says, Greg, regarding ETFC, nice reminder on the bar size. Thank you. Yeah, and good catch there, Jesse, as well. William Green, hey, how you doing, William? William says, Happy New Year, everyone. Greg, I've been very busy catching you late at night to continue learning. No active trades right now. Should calm down a bit in a couple weeks. I'll be cheering you all on. Oh, thank you, William. That's so nice. That's so nice. Joshua says, I took WMT2 based upon closing above Friday's low and solid bounce off the support on 1031. 222. Let's go back to 1031. Oh yeah, very good. Very, very, very good, Joshua. So what Joshua was saying is, see how we had this low back here around 1031. We had this area of support here. Well, today we basically tested that in addition to testing the 100-day. And again, back in time, you could see that the 100-day did really hold as support last time. So does it mean it's going to hold support this time? But no. But we had a thorough rejection of the 100. Like Joshua says, we had nice support here, this previous support that it bounced off of. We have a good risk to reward ratio, and in the past, the 100-day has acted as some nice support. So all in all, makes sense. So good. Glad to hear that, Josh. Grant says, do you sell the SPY right at the open, or do you a trailing stop if it's rallying? No, I sell it right at the open. What I do, Grant, is during the day, I just put a buy market on close buy order. So I'll say, okay, buy this many shares right at the close. That way I don't have to worry about it at the close. I do it before the market closes. So I say buy, X amount of shares on the close. Then I don't have to worry about it. It just buys at the close. After the market's is closed, now like I could do it right now, right this second, I could just say sell all my SPY tomorrow at the open. So, but I don't use any trailing stop or anything like that. And sometimes it will rally, and that's too bad. Other times, Grant, it will open right at the top and head right back down. Hey, John, good to see you. Hi, Greg. Usually brief notes because driving. Curious thoughts on FAF. All right, let's take a look. Well, we moved down under the third ATR channel. A few days ago, we went from under 30 back over 30 and back over the third ATR channel, which was positive. We had 1 day down. I think the time to have bought it would have been the under 30 over 30, 1, 2, 3 days ago. But if you didn't get it then, I probably wouldn't chase it here. What I would be looking for, John, is not including today, we've been below the -1 ATR channel, right? Now we are back in the value zone. That's good. But what I'd be looking for on this now is for another day or two up, and then a couple days down, and look for a higher low V1, V2. And you might say to yourself, well, if you think it's going higher, why wouldn't you buy it here? Well, the reason why is it came from a lower low. Anytime you have a lower low, yeah, it might have a bounce for 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 days, but that's usually about the end of the move coming from a lower low. And then you have a pullback. The people that bought this low, once it starts to get a little weak, they're probably going to lock in those profits like I do. When I buy a deep dip, when it moves up and starts to fail, I usually get out, and that causes selling pressure. So that's why I'm saying we come from a lower low. Very well may go up again tomorrow, but very likely another day or two up, we'll have a couple days down,
And then if it's strong enough to head back up, then the people that bought here sold when it got weak. Now those sellers are out of the equation. So if we do get a new group of buyers to give us a higher low V1 or V2, it can move up easier, has easier movement. So I wouldn't buy this here, but that's my opinion there. Hassan says, what do you think of Home Depot? Well, we were above the 1 ATR channel. We came back into the value zone. We have moved sideways. We had a V1 today, but it's not a very good washout of yesterday's low. The bigger the washout, the better. But even if it was a decent V1, I wouldn't take it here because now the price is right at the 1 ATR channel. Here's the negative one. Here's the positive one. 3/4 of the channel is about the maximum that I'll take that kind of trade. And now we're right here at the 1 ATR channel. And why is that a big deal? Well, you know, the middle of the green here and the green here, the top green and the bottom green, right in the middle is the mean. That basically the mean of the 20-day simple moving average. Now we are moved away from that mean. So the rubber band is starting to pull a little tight at the 1 ATR channel. Very likely you're going to find resistance, some kind of resistance at the 1 ATR channel. So that's why I want to buy when the rubber band's not so tight, either down here or lower. See what I'm saying? So I just consider this a little bit high right now. It's above 50 RSI, which is good. It did move over the 5, the 10, and the 20, which is good. MACD is positive. That's good. So, I mean, it's good, right? But for the way that I have to size up a trade, look for a good risk to reward ratio based upon resistance above me and so forth, I would pass on this trade. And you have all this resistance up here as well. You're right. It is a bullish engulfing candle, so that does add a little cherry on top. We went below and above yesterday's high and low, so it's all good. Let's take a look at the weekly. Weekly, we're in the value zone. That's good. You know, we had this huge big bar down, right? When we have a big on the weekly, when you have a big down bar on the weekly, you might rally back up, but you're probably going to rally back to the halfway. I mean, you still have tons of room to go. That's at like 226, so you almost have 6 points to the upside on the weekly. But yeah, I would still pass on this because of what I just talked about right here at the 1 ATR channel, too high. Jesse says, Greg, have you heard from Jackson at all? Terrible in Australia right now. Haven't seen him in the room for a while. Yeah, I did. He emailed me. He has been moving, and it's been quite an ordeal for him to move. And so, and with the fires and all, so he is just taking a little bit break right now. But yeah, he just messaged me a day or so ago and says he's excited to get back to the chat. So he's just been dealing with the fires and been dealing with the moving. William Green says, I don't see an email address. Where do I look for it? It's just in the description. Let's see if I can find one. Let's take a look. All right. It's right down here. Let's see. Here it is. Gregory at GossettTrading.com. So just go to the bottom of the video, say show more, and it's right here. I also offer private one-on-one lessons in the anytime via Skype, so this is of interest to you. My hourly rates and content information are below. And the 2 to 3 hour sessions, it's $1,000. So yeah, it's Gregory at GossettTrading.com. Or on Skype as well, at Gossett Trading on Skype. Did that help, William? Did you find it? All right.
I guess I could just make it easy, couldn't I? Oh, you got it. Okay, good. Good. So yeah, currently still sticking with the Etsy 1050 crossover. Down slightly on it, but way off the low, so that's good. The SPY got clobbered the last couple days, but that's how it goes, guys. You know, in May of 2019, I lost almost 80% of my overnight SPY trades. It was brutal, right? But taking the long view approach, I had a really nice profitable approach with the overnight SPY trade. So we'll see if we can get it tomorrow. And then Walmart. All right, so it looks like SPY is down after hours a little bit. All right. Anybody have any other questions for me, or if you'd like me to take a look at any particular symbols, I'm happy to do that. Jesse and I have a little call tonight. We're going to talk about options. Amon Solo and I had a long session talking about options, so it must be in the water. So we're going to do some options. Jesse and I are going to do some options 101 tonight. All right, so I do know that Bing He took ATSG. Did anyone else, let's see, did anyone else take any other positions today that they'd like me to get up on the board? So we can follow and make sure that you follow your trading plan. That's why I do kind of like to put it up here. I mean, of course, it has no power, but you know, just kind of getting it up here and documented is helpful, I think. So we have Mount Doji with ARCE. I think he's in Costa Rica today on a vacation. A man solo, looks like you probably kept your CMCSA, I imagine. A man solo. All right. So FedEx did close positively. So that is good. So he's up nicely on that. BA, Allen is up on that. And on KMX, Allen is down a little bit. It did hold the 30 RSI. And then we have Bing He with ATSG. Hey, you're welcome, Mr. Clarence Beeks. Now make sure you bring the frozen orange juice data tonight like I asked you. Okay? Dr. Long says, no position for me. Too strong in holding. Looking tomorrow for setups. That sounds good to me. Yeah, it's pretty volatile lately. It's been quite volatile. You know, guys, this is so good from Steve Burns and PR Robbins. I mean, I think if I had to pick one particular trading saying that really resonates with me and that I think is probably the most important for all traders, it's this. A bad trade often sends a trader down a path of negative self-defeating thinking and behavior. Many enter a spiral they never escape from. Remembering your good trades and staying positive is hard but beneficial for success. So it's all a state of mind.
doing everything you can to not become destabilized, because when you become destabilized, you make bad decisions, right? You think with that other part of your brain. You have that fight or flight part of your brain. And, you have to find a way to not even be tempted to get in this part where you're becoming where you have self-defeating thinking and behavior. And best way to do that, cut your losses small, position size correctly, think about trading for the long term, and be positive. Of course you're going to have drawdowns. Of course you are. They come. There's nothing you can do about them. But what you can do is stick with your plan. What you can do is try to stay positive. And what you must do is not get yourself in a position where you get into a downward spiral. So this is the best. And thanks at Pro Robbins, PRROBBINS on Twitter as well. But yeah, so good. So good. You got it locked up, Mr. Duke? I got it locked up, Mr. Duke. All right, good. I'll meet you in the parking garage later. Dr. Long, it was the Dukes. It was the Dukes. I watched that show the other day. If you guys remember, do you remember Anthony? Anthony might be out there listening right now. Anthony was a previous student of mine. But we were talking about it, and he said, "Hey, you remember that movie, Trading Places?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a great movie." And he goes, "Yeah, I was right there. You remember the scenes where they're in the orange juice pit and they're trading orange juice, and it was the Dukes. It was the Dukes." Oh no, that was another scene. Anyway, Anthony says, "Yeah, I was there. That's where he traded, because Anthony was a floor trader. He was a market maker." Right there. So I said, "Were you in the movie?" And he's like, "No, I wasn't in the movie, but all the guys that you see in the movie, I work with. I know all those guys." And I said, "Man, if you were in the movie, I'd go out and rent it in 5 minutes." He said, "No, I'm not in there, but I did go out and rent it anyway." And what a great show. That was a great. If you guys remember, all the people came in to buy because the Dukes were coming in, and they were trying to corner the market on frozen orange juice. And the Croc report came out, and then I think they gave them the wrong Croc report so that they wanted to buy lots. But in fact, there was not a shortage. And so Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, they shorted. And anyway, great movie. Really great movie. FCOJ. Is that a symbol? FCOJ. I guess not on mine. Bing He says, "Greg, did anyone try using value zone V1, V2 on other markets? It seems to me SG and HK market don't work well. I am not too sure." Well, I'm not quite sure. Now, SG, I mean, look at this. No volume, cheap price, right? The V1s and V2s and all this in the value zone, they should work on any market, Bing He. They really should, because, it's mean reversion. It gets above value, comes into value. The sideways movement is just to show that it stopped going down. And in addition, sideways movement is good for a move up. I mean, here we were above the 1 ATR zone, or the value zone. We did come in. We moved sideways. This all looks good. We didn't quite have a legitimate V1, but remember, sideways movements lead sometimes to very large moves, and that's what I'm looking for. It's above value. I want it to come into value. I needed to see it stop going down, going sideways, and then have some kind of trigger. So here's V1. I mean, look at this V2. Whew. If I would have taken this trade on HK, Maybe that is HK. I don't know. But, you know, being he, yes, V1s, V2s in the value zone should work on any particular stock, commodity, index, and on any time frame. Oh yeah, I knew it was frozen concentrated orange juice. I just thought that was a real symbol. That's why I put it in. Oh, you mean on Singapore and Hong Kong markets? I see. Not the symbols there. Okay, that makes more sense. Uh, it should work. It should work all over. Not all the time, being he obviously, right? But the setup, what's going on? You're above value, right? You're above value. You come back into the value zone. Sideways movement. V1, V2. All right. If you have any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to start saying goodbye to everybody. Being he, I hope that answered your question. It's really the best I can do, but I mean that particular setup should work regardless in any market. It really should. Not all the time, but it should. But thank you for coming, being he, and I'll be rooting on your STSG tomorrow. Jess, good seeing you, bud. I will speak to you tonight. Thanks for coming. Dr. Long, thank you for coming. Hope you have a good rest of your day. William Green, hope you got the email. And if you'd like to set up that Skype call with me, just send me an email, and we'll get it set up. And it'll be nice to speak to you. Hassan, nice seeing you. Appreciate you coming by today. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good rest of your day. John, good seeing you. And drive safe. No chatting while you're driving. But I hope that helped on FAF. And Grant, thank you for coming by. Appreciate you. New to the podcast and new to the chat, but hope you keep coming back. And I hope I answer your questions there on the watch list and on the SPY. Joshua Kaufman. We are Walmart brothers now, so hopefully we'll see Walmart go up tomorrow. But good seeing you, and thanks for pointing out that solid bounce off the support on 1031. Good eye on that one. I didn't catch that. Frank, good to see you. Thank you so much for the poem. You're a master at poems, and I'm going to post that. I hope you have a really great rest of your day, my friend. Thank you so much. I'm on solo. Thanks, bud. Good seeing you. Great lesson. Be in touch with me for our next lesson so we can get that scheduled. Okay. Steve Burns, thank you, my friend. Always great to have you here. Always an honor. Always a pleasure. And by the way, great newsletter last night at New Trader U. Steve has a video newsletter he does 3 times a week right here at newtraderu.com. I subscribe to it. I rarely miss it, and that was a really good analysis of the market last night. So thank you for that. Okay, and Dr. Long, I said goodbye. So you're flat IBB. Okay, that makes sense. And let's see, Kyle, good seeing you, and hope that helped on TLT, but I don't see anything there. Alan Bailey, good to see you, my friend. I appreciate you coming by. Hope you have a nice rest of your day, sir. And I think that is it. No, Marco. I almost signed off without saying goodbye to Marco. Good seeing you, Marco. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Oh, and David is right there at the top, and Evan is at the top. So I hope David and Evan have a good day as well. All right, everybody, that's it. I'm going to put the hiking boots on, and I'm going to go up in the mountains and get some sunshine and enjoy the nice day. So appreciate everybody coming. And on the way out, 2 things. First, as always, please go out and do something nice for somebody today. Just a wave or a smile or say hello or just be pleasant. You really might affect that person's the rest of their day in a positive way, just with the smallest little gesture. So let's try to do that once every day. at the minimum once every day, right? And then two, if before you get out of here, if you could hit the thumbs up button, if you found today's podcast helpful on the way out, I'd appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button. So, all right, well, that's it, everybody. Take care, and hope to see you tomorrow during the last hour of the market. Have a great rest of your day now. Bye-bye.
U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.